annoying ass dog keeps making noise, and I'm trying to record, bro. Terry will train Sam, and Sam and Tory will fight again. Here's why. Based on the ending of Season 4, we can infer that Tory will more than likely be conflicting with Terry over the course of the season. She'd probably build up some anger towards him first, and then eventually lashing out on Terry, calling him a cheater. Though Terry would basically act like Tory is crazy and it's not her fault Sam ran into her elbow, this is when I think Tory would attempt to strike Terry, but he'd just easily block her punch, calling back to what happened with Daniel and Karate Kid 3. This is for sure going to cause Tory to leave the dojo and probably resort to trying to talk to Gianni. In Cobra Kai, I feel like Gianni and Tory's relationship doesn't really get expanded on too much, which is weird to think about because she was Miguel's girlfriend. Regardless though, I feel like Season 5 can expand on Gianni and Silver's conflict specifically even more. And you guys might be wondering, Tyler, why are you talking about Tory in a Sam theory video? Well, this is where Sam actually begins to come into play. While this is going on, Sam would be frustrated with her loss against Tory, telling even her father that she didn't win fairly. And with Amanda helping Tory in Season 4 and then not having any proof of Tory even cheating, Amanda would say how she may have lost, but she shouldn't try to disregard Tory's W. This plus Sam being more than likely pissed off at the fact that Miyagi-Do is shut down and Eli won, this would cause her to eventually lash out on her dad, and this would basically symbolize what happened in Karate Kid 3. This would cause her to then leave the dojo, having her spiral down like her father did back in the 80s. We already saw in the trailer that her mental state is basically spiraling down, so we could definitely infer that at the bare minimum she is going to lash out at Daniel, with Terry more than likely trying to approach Sam and trying his best to manipulate her. The only hole I see in this theory though is the manipulation itself. Terry could admit to Sam that he cheated, but maybe try to justify it. However, I don't think Sam is dumb enough to join based off that. But maybe she could try and attempt to go to Gianni after he returns, just for him to be with Tory, and this would cause Sam to maybe even go over since, 1, there's no crease, plus she would fit right in, being able to replace Tory. If not, Terry could maybe train Sam in secret and maybe trick Sam like how he tricked Daniel, saying that he could care less if she joins his dojo, he just wants to help. And like in Karate Kid 3, Sam being in Cobra Kai would all just be a way to make Terry Silver laugh, especially if it's the same thing that Daniel was using. The Quicksilver method is something that should definitely be brought back, especially with another LaRusso utilizing it in my opinion. Sam would become even more unhinged, aggressive, but overall more powerful than ever. Terry would more than likely encourage her to fight Tory once again or catch her when she least expects it, and this would lead into Sam eventually striking first. I feel like this should symbolize what we saw last season with Terry versus Gianni, but only now Tory is on the Gianni side, meanwhile Sam has gone full Sith. And obviously this would more than likely happen after Miguel and Robbie's fight, and by this point they should be back home and should be cool with each other. And with Tory on their side, we would have Robbie and her still together, while Miguel would question Gianni initially, but at the end of the day would trust him. He doesn't really care about Tory too much since he's more so focused on Sam and what's happening to her. Miguel would more than likely try an encounter with Sam, but this would basically symbolize with what happened with Tory in Season 3 when Miguel and her confronted each other. Only now this would be post Sam versus Tory, where I think Sam would more than likely defeat her. Not only was she stronger than her beforehand, but now she's using a style which actually just makes her physically more powerful. And at this point, Miguel is the only person left that could basically try and stop Sam from becoming even more unhinged. And now it really comes down to what she really wants to do, but Miguel would try and tell her that clearly this isn't the way, but Sam realizes the moment that she actually obtained the Quicksilver method, things started actually going well for her. This would then lead into Miguel saying, but what if it doesn't? What if someone could actually beat you? Sam would then question who, and this would then lead into Miguel actually getting in a fighting position.
This dude is about to fight his own girl, Chris Brown moment.
This Miguel at this point would be far above his Season 4 self, not being injured and probably more than likely being relative with this version of Robbie. And so I think Prime Miguel versus Quicksilver Sam should be the closest battle we have in the verse by this point. Though I do believe Miguel should get the tornado kick off in the end and probably bring her back to the light side, because if Sam stays evil, then that's just gonna make things awkward, and I think her just going on this rampage arc for Season 5 would go crazy and be a perfect follow-up for what Season 4 set up. Maybe she could do even more, but honestly, I'm not really even thinking that far ahead. I don't know what's to come. But let me know what you guys think of my little rough draft for what I think is going to happen with Sam and Terry. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments, leave a like on this video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, hit the bell icon, and follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.